Good morning from Anderson Forge on this Valentine's Day. Now that I think about it, Valentine's Day, 14 February 2019, day before Little Rock Knife Show in actually it's the Arkansas Knife Show in Little Rock. Anyway, let me show you a Quillon Dagger. For those not familiar, it's Quillon. A lot of guys say Quillon or whatever, but it's Quillon, French. These things right here actually are the Quillons. This is the Quillon. This is a Quillon on a guard. Anyway, this is a dagger I made for that show. I want to apologize for this background just a little bit. It should be bigger, but I'm crunched for time, so you get what you get. Anyway, this is a real tight single twist Damascus blade. It's 10.5 inches long. Every now and then I'll flip it and you'll only see like one cutting edge, but both cutting edges are sharpened. But this it's 10.5 inches long, single twist, and when I hot blued it, I just left the whole thing hot blued. It really looks good in natural light, and I don't know how it's going to come through on this video. It's a beautiful piece of stabilized Koa that I used for the handle. Five strands. I did a 5-strand flute. It leaves pretty big flutes, but with an oval cross section on the knife, I mean, God, this thing just, it's an extension. I can understand how when guys went to war with swords and daggers, they really needed to not feel encumbered by their weapons, and this thing is just so nice to hold. Here you can kind of get an idea of some of the symmetry that's involved in a dagger. Whatever happens on one side in one particular place, when you flip it over or go opposite, it's like everything has to be, see, for example, see this, like we're just going to look at this side of the top of the Quillon, that point. When you think about it, there's 4 of them. And they all need to happen at the same place at the same time. Anyway. Sterling silver. It's 99.9%, 2 strands of pure silver, 2 strands inlaid into the handle. Here's finial, butt cap, fluted, little piece of dust on there, fluted, actually just grooved spacer. We'll do a quick takedown on this thing. And I made a takedown, oh, before I forget, the takedown is right on the top. You can't see the hole when you're viewing the knife from the side, but you can, there it is from the top. This is a piece of course, mild steel. I got a set screw in here, and this is a number, I think this is number 31, W1, hardened W1 that is then spring tempered, so it won't bend, won't bend or break. Pardon me. Now, something, hope I didn't yell there. Pardon me, I've been eating peanuts. But this has no pins. There are no pins in the fitting of this knife. Everything is a friction fit. Regardless of aligning the pins, it all goes back right in the exact same spot because there's tight tolerances, and I'll show you what I mean. Here's the finial that I turned on my lathe, and I hope I don't. One time I was taking one of these apart and kind of dropped the knife. When I grabbed it, I cut myself at the Little Rock show, now that I think about it. But see, this just comes right off. There's no pins because this is a slop-free, it just barely goes on there. It's slop-free. It can't go around, it can't move on the finial. And notice that this thing turns, yet it's sitting on a ledge in there, but there's no scratches on that. This shoulder here was turned on my lathe, I don't know, 7 or 8 thousandths bigger than where it sets in. So it's just the tiniest little gap between the bottom of the finial and the face of the butt cap. Now, watch this handle. It just comes right off. I will show you the butt end, and you get an idea how these wires go in. But the finial just fits in that hole. There's no slop in the finial in the hole. So center and center and center, everything just stays lined up. Here's the spacer. Comes off, and the guard comes off. Now, I always have on the, and pardon me, there's some rust inhibiting grease on here, Rig from Brownells, which I've been using at the wise education of my buddy Jerry Radis. Turned me on to this stuff last century, as a matter of fact. I've been using it ever since. But you'll see, maybe, if I get it in the light, that there's a little dot right there at the top of that spacer, and when or at the top of the guard slot, and when I index that on my, there's my name, Anderson. I don't know if you'll be able to see or not, but that dot goes to the top. This is a slop-free fit. Slop-free. There's no, I'm shaking it. There's no slop in the guard, so it doesn't, this spacer has a corresponding dot which goes to the top, and it just fits. There's zero play. There's zero play in the guard. The handle, which I also have indexed with some magic marker, is file fitted to the tang. Zero play. So everything lines up. And if I just set that, I really don't want to cut myself. Put the finial in here, in that hole, and that goes in that hole. And when you tighten this thing up, all the parts and pieces are where they're supposed to be. And there it is, when I turn that hole right to where the handle is in line with the knife, just a little bit more, she's Guten tight. Anyway, Quillon Dagger, 10.5-inch blade, and we'll be seeing another one coming soon. Thanks.